Alright, so here we are, pen exercise number 3. So kind of similar to what we did in the last one, in that we're going to be doing patterns, but with this one, you are going to just pick one of these. You don't have to do them both, just do one of them. And remember, first thing, make sure, we only have a background, so we're going to add a layer. I am going to do it's kind of like dragon scales on this one, so I'm going to zoom in by hitting Command plus and minus. Make sure I got my pen. There we go. Right now my smoothing is at 0, so I'm going to bring that up to like 34. Make sure I'm good to go. Yep. For this, right now my brush is at 40. And another way, I don't think I actually ever mentioned this. No, I did. I'm going to change my bracket size, bring it down. Alright, then I'm essentially just going to recreate what's happening here. The biggest takeaway from this is that the layers, honestly. Layers create more and more texture. So with this one, what we're going to do is that each one of these boxes we're actually going to use a different layer. And we're also going to talk about copying and pasting. Alright, so thing number 1 is that I'm going to just kind of start by, let's see, which way is going to be my most comfortable. Alright, so I'm going to rotate my page. So it's going to be like this, because for me, that seems like it's going to be more comfortable. B for brush. So I'm going to remake this. Alright, so with the magic of television, I did it. So as you can see, that is this first layer, and apparently I did it in the wrong box, which is okay. I am going to, instead of doing it over and over and over in each one of these, I'm going to have it be pretty similar in each one anyway. So I'm going to go to my marquee tool, my selection tool, and I'm going to go select this box. I'm going to go to my move tool, and so if I just move it, it's just going to drag it up there. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down, I believe it's Option. Actually, on a PC it's Alt, so I'm going to hold down Alt, and it's going to make a copy. Do the same thing, hold down Alt, make a copy, make that copy again. Right, so now I have all three, they're all on that same layer. If I wanted to, I could kind of do the same thing and just kind of keep that repetitive pattern instead of reinventing the wheel, and then I can kind of go in and clean it up a little bit. Oh. Okay. Now I can see it's gone too far, so I'm going to get my eraser. Now I still have these those are called like marching ants. And so I want to deselect that so that I can go up here and go select, deselect, or I can just hit Command D for deselect as well. I'm going to get my eraser out, so I don't need all those extra pieces. Alright, so now all of my base scales are on that same layer. Okay, so like I said, on this we want to work in multiple layers. So now to do my next little layer, I'm going to go to my layers over here, I'm going to hit plus. So now I'm on layer 2. And so now I'm going to start adding some of these details. All right, so I'm going to zoom back in, spacebar, and I'm going to start doing it in this top section here. Make sure I get my brush. And for this one, what's going to be the easiest way for me? So I'm going to hit R to rotate. So I think that's going to feel the most comfortable for my wrist. Well, let's get some movie magic here. So I did my little curves there. So here's the thing, it's on a different layer, right? So now I can go to layer 2, go to my marquee, select those, hold down Alt, go up to my move tool, which is V. Now I can hold down Alt, and I can place those in the same, right? So instead of reinventing the wheel every time, and so I'm also, one of the things too is I want you to see that doing multiple layers of something is that's how we kind of get these more intricate details and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a progression. So I'm going to leave this one plain, and I'm going to add it in here. Cool. And so now we have our little lines. Now we're going to start adding in some of these shadows that are going on in here. So I'm going to do another layer. Now I'm on layer 3. And like I said, we were trying to show a progression, so I'm going to not really do the shadow so much on this one, but I'm going to do it on this one and then transfer that information down. Alright, so on this one I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit more. Get my brush. Alright, a little movie magic, and that's done. Alright, and so... Oh, I messed that up, didn't I? Sorry, I gotta move this one down here. Right, once again, that's kind of what's cool about digital stuff, right? It's like if you mess up, you can move stuff around as long as you're working smarter. Alright, so now we're going to be on our last layer. On our last layer, we're essentially just adding even more shadows on top of that to create even more depth in there. So we're going to get in, we made our new layer, deselect this. I'm going to rotate there, and then start going to town. So I got my brush, Alright, so we got the magic of TV once again. Alright, so I used my marquee, went around it. Now I switch to my move tool. Alright, so I'm going to move that over here. Put it into place. Maybe. I think I'm just going to do... I'll do one more. Remember, the idea is that we're trying to show a transfer, a transition through here. And so I'm going to hit enter, so it's happy. Deselect, let's try that again, enter, and D for deselect. And now I can actually use my E for eraser. And I can actually start to erase some of these higher up. I could also change my flow and my opacity a little bit now too. So if I change the opacity on my eraser as I erase, you notice it's not going to erase as much. All right, so now you can kind of see that it starts to look like it's a little bit more of a transition through there. Like I said, doesn't matter. You can do, doesn't matter which one you do. The idea is that we're just trying to play around with layers a little bit, and then also, to create layers to create more intricate type patterns, which will help us in the next one. Overall, more than anything, this is to help us get better at precision with the pen tool. As always, make sure you go up to File, Save when you're done with your work, and then File, Export, Export As. We're going to save it as a JPEG, and then that is what you're going to submit to Schoology.